The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
14:20 in the morning, 14 minutes and 20 seconds where the sports talk to get you through your daily commute. Hot takes, recaps, best bets, and a little humor to get your day going in the right direction. Sit back, grab your coffee, and let's get into it. All right, 14:20 in the morning for this Saturday morning, June the 3rd, 2023. Today's show is brought to you by Yeti Coolers and YetiCoolers.com. Go to our personalized link. Will be up in the show's notes and get yourself a Yeti Cooler. Yeti Coolers are built for the wild. They got all sorts of drinkware and everything else that most of you people have already, but Yeti Coolers, happy to have them along for the ride here at 1420 World Headquarters. Thank you for making this part of your weekend here at 1420 in the morning. And as always, we are part of the Belly Up Media Network. Go to bellyupsports.com for some great articles, all sports that are out there, and other podcasts that are all podcasts under the sun for every sport you could possibly think of: car racing, horse racing, to college sports, to NHL. And I guess that's going again tonight. Hey, kind of a forgotten entity, the Stanley Cup playoffs. Forgot they were even happening. They've been off for so bloody long, kind of lost a lot of interest, and that's why we'll be talking about the Major League Baseball season to date so far. The season's just over a third of the year done. So I thought I would go over the top three surprising teams, top three disappointing teams, and no, none of these will include the New York Yankees whatsoever, who they tend to disappoint me on a year-in, year-out basis. It seems as of late they haven't been playing that well, but we won't talk about the Yankees. I promise you that. They won't be brought up a whole bunch during this show, but we'll get into the disappointing teams. We won't talk about the Oakland A's because everybody knew they were going to be an absolute wreck this year. We won't talk about the Kansas City Royals because we knew they were going to be a wreck this year. And speaking of the Oakland A's, apparently their relocation to Las Vegas has hit a bit of a snag. The people of Las Vegas are kind of pushing back a little bit and saying, why are we paying for this? Why are we having to do this? Well, we don't really need to do this. There's not much of a return of investment, and there's not a whole bunch of jobs, full-time jobs that would be included in this. So that Oakland A's owners might have himself a bit of a snafu going forward with that relocation that they had planned to go to Las Vegas. Don't quote me on it though, but things that I've read, things that I've heard, things that I've talked to other people about, that the Oakland relocation thing might not be happening. There's some government, some red tape that has to be crossed, and it might not happen. So the Las Vegas A's might not be a thing, as everybody had talked about. But anyways, we'll talk about the three most disappointing teams, the Major League Baseball season to date so far. Disappointing teams up and down the lineup, but I'm going to go number three for me is the St. Louis Cardinals, currently 25-33 in the National League Central, 5.5 games out, which isn't an insurmountable lead by any means, but that's a division that they probably they thought they would have had locked up, and the Cardinal way, year in, year out, is the right way to do things. They rarely have an off year in St. Louis, and things tend to go pretty well, but they have not been playing very well. If anybody would have said at the 1/3 mark they would be behind the Pirates and the Cubs, and the Brewers are pretty good, but the Pirates and the Cubs, you wouldn't think that would happen. It's nice to see the Pirates having a good season. They're playing above their heads a little bit, and it's nice to see a guy like Andrew McCutchen getting to play some meaningful games with the team that he started with and playing very well with. He's going for 2,000 hits. Andrew McCutchen's one of the really good guys in baseball, and it's good to see a guy like that be able to go home a little bit and have some success. Having that, but back to the Cardinals. They haven't been clicking so far this season. Nolan Arenado probably going to the Hall of Fame career kind of going. He just didn't get it going early. It has been quite bad, actually. He didn't have a good start to the season, picking things up a little bit. But then you go to their starting pitching, Jordan Montgomery, Gumby, as he was called with the New York Yankees. I'm going to get my Yankees licks in there no matter what. But Montgomery has been bloody awful since coming over to the Cardinals in the Harrison Bader trade. Bader, who's always hurt with the Yankees, so the trade has kind of just been a wash for both teams when it comes down to it. But having a guy out there who hasn't been good, and Steven Matz being out there, he's been terrible as well. So you're trolling two guys out there every 5 or 6 days that just have not been successful. It's a recipe for disaster, and it has been so far for the St. Louis Cardinals. Will they stick around that way? I doubt it. There's just too much talent on that team. But the passing of the torch, getting like Pujols retiring, Molina retiring, it hasn't went very well for the St. Louis Cardinals, and they've been a disappointment disappointment through and through, and haven't been able to get out of their own way to get this season going. I don't know if the Brewers can hold them off. I know that the Cubs won't hold them off, and the like, but you can't see the Pittsburgh Pirates playing the game of baseball the way they have. But you got to think the Cardinals are going to maybe bounce back a little bit, but that division is everybody's just beating everybody, so you don't know what they're going to do in that division. Whether the Cardinals will come back and make a run of things is kind of a mystery to me and to everybody else. Number 2 most disappointing team for me is the San Diego Padres, the freewheeling, heavy spending. I don't know where they get their money from. One of the smaller TV markets who actually lost their TV deal. The Bally Sports thing just the other day went belly up for them. Belly up Sports, maybe we should buy them and look at what's going on there and get the media network going there. But things went sideways for Bally's in San Diego. So now they're on MLB network. So now people in the community can see, they can get the games on streaming services in San Diego, but they raise the price of MLB. It's a whole bunch of crap that I don't want to get involved here on a Saturday morning. But the thing about the San Diego Padres, good thing that they have the lowly Colorado Rockies in their division, or they would be in last place in the National League West. The team that was in the World or the National League Championship Series last year, you have a team that's loaded with talent, loaded with power, spends money freely there. Remember, they were in the Aaron Judge sweepstakes last summer. At the last second, they put in a hefty bid to pick up Aaron Judge from the New York Yankees. I'm always going to get the Yankees licks in there, I guess, no matter what. But they just don't got it. They're 8.5 games out right now. Machado's missed some time going forward. He's back playing a little bit. You got to think that they might get a little bit better. But a team that has a Xander Bogaerts, a Juan Soto, a Fernando Tatis Jr. on that team, you think that there'd just be enough talent day in, day out to maybe get a couple of wins here and there and do some damage, but they haven't been able to do so. Their ace, Joe Musgrove, he was out to start the season. He's pitching a little bit better now, but he hasn't gotten back to form completely. It's really odd that you have Yu Darvish, who's been lights out all throughout his career, really. He's struggled, and perennial nozzle of the year candidate Blake Snell. There's something about that guy I just don't like. There were some comments he made a few years ago about getting paid, and the way he spoke and everything else, it really was kind of off-putting. I'm not a big Blake Snell fan, and I'm kind of happy to see him failing a little bit. He hasn't been good at all, and I'm quite happy to see that they're struggling there in San Diego, and just throwing money at things doesn't always solve a problem. I'm not going to say it's his fault, but I'm pretty sure it is his fault. The clubhouse might be in a state of disarray. This is complete 14-20 speculation, but that team was rolling last year when Tatis Jr. got suspended for PED use, and they went, like I said, they went to NLCS. They made a run last year, were fun to watch, and there was no Tatis Jr. in that locker room, and now having him back, that might be the reason. I'm not actually going to say might. I'll throw a scolding hot take out there. The reason why the San Diego Padres are losing, I think that Tatis Jr. is a bit of a cancer in that locker room, and things don't roll as well with him in the lineup as it did when he was out of the lineup. Whether that's true or not, who knows? But it's one of those things. Look to see that this is another screaming hot take. Because the Padres don't mind spending money a little bit, look for Marcus Stroman to end up there. If they can put a few wins together and kind of get into a wild card race that in the National League, you might see Marcus Stroman go there, because Stroman's got a opt-out clause at the end of this season. The Cubs won't be able to sign him because he's having one hell of a season for the Cubs. I think he one hit the Rays earlier on this week, Tampa Rays. So look for Stroman to get moved, and San Diego doesn't mind spending money. Look for Stroman to end up with the San Diego Padres, whether it be this year to finish the season off if they can get on a roll, or in the off season. Stroman will end up there because the Cubs won't pay for him. He's going to get overpaid because there'll be some idiotic owner out there that'll see him as a $35-40 million pitcher, because that's what these guys get nowadays. So look for Stroman to end up with the San Diego Padres. Mark that one down in the archives, kids, because that one's going to come to fruition. That's my thoughts. And as I said yesterday, the most disappointing team in Major League Baseball right now for me is the Philadelphia Phillies. 2 wins away from winning themselves a World Series last year. Went to 6 games with the Houston Astros. Are just having an atrocious season. They're now in last place, or tied for last place, with a team that was projected to lose over 100 games in the Washington Nationals. They lost the Nationals last night, Friday night, and it's just not going good for them in Phillies land, in Philadelphia. And the Philly faithful must be up in arms a little bit. The addition of Trey Turner at shortstop has not been the answer for them at all. He's been awful. Kyle Schwarber can't hit his weight. He's hitting, and it's only 229, right? So if you can't hit 229, you're in trouble. Strikes out a lot. The team just isn't doing anything. A pitching staff is not giving the team any length at all. A closer who's well past his prime in Craig dangle arm Kimbrel. I hate that guy ever since he was a Red Sox. That dangle arm move makes me crazy. Just haven't put it together. Can they go on a magical run like they did last year after they fired Joe Girardi? Another Yankee. See, they always come in there, right, kids? Once can they make another magical run like they had last year? This time last year when they decided to change things up there and go with Rob Thompson as the bench boss, who knows? But you got to think that things can't get much worse. So you got to look ahead. Maybe they'll get some wins. Harper's back, but can they do it and can they get things going? Will be a mystery. And will be interesting to see what happens in Philadelphia with that team moving forward. It's crazy to think that a team who made some big moves and spent some big money just can't get out of their own way and can't win ball games at this part of the season. It's unbelievable to think that they thought they had a World Series team and adding Turner in there, and they just can't get it going, and they're tied for last place with a team that was a total, like I said, to lose 100 games in the Washington Nationals. Anyways, let's get to teams that are a bit of a surprise. I'm not talking Tampa because Tampa is always right there. They always find a way to be in that division. I don't know how they do it year in, year out, how their analytics guys find the pitching that they have. Maybe that's what it is. They pitch and they don't strike out. What a weird thing. What a weird concept that works for a Major League Baseball team to not strike out a bunch. We'll get to that in half a second too. But you look at teams like the Arizona Diamondbacks right now, number 3 most surprising team in baseball for me, 35-23, tied for National League West lead with the Los Angeles Dodgers. Second best home record in the major leagues at 20-12 at Chase Field. Great place to watch a ball game if you ever guys get to go. I know it's an indoor facility and everything else, but I've been there a few times. A great place to watch a ball game. The air conditioning's always on. It's always about 72 degrees or something in there, so it's always quite comfortable to watch a game there. They've taken advantage of the new rules quite tough for when it comes to base stealing a lot. I think they're 3rd or 4th right now in stolen bases, so they've taken advantage of that. And you know what? Here's an odd fact and an odd stat. I know we're at the 1420 World Headquarters. We're not stats nerds here by any means, but they don't strike out. They're 3rd in the least strikeouts in the big leagues. And what a novel concept when you don't strike out and it's not an all or nothing approach. You put ball to bat, put the ball in play, single them to death, get on base, higher batting average, you win baseball games. It's an odd thing that I don't know why more teams don't understand that. I'm being a bit facetious here, obviously, but it's one of those things I will never understand, that teams do not refuse to go the all or nothing route. They just don't understand that putting ball to bat matters. Putting the ball in play matters. Singles matter. Home runs, yes, they're nice, but you know what? Sometimes they're rally killers as well. You get guys on base, you wear some pitchers out, you put the ball to bat, you make guys throw a little bit, and then that's just how it works. The old Moneyball way of thinking, although that only worked because of the pitching staff that they had there in Oakland in 2001 or 2002, whenever that was saying Mulder, Zito, and Hudson was the reason why that happened. But anyways, you look at not Scott Hatterberg. That wasn't the reason. It wasn't fucking Scott Hatterberg. First swear word at 11:44 this morning. That's not too bad here at 14:20 in the morning. But you think that these teams would figure this out. You know, they don't have a roster that's full of guys who are household names. The addition of Lourdes Gurriel Jr. is having himself a great season from the Blue Jays that he came over there in that trade during the offseason. He's having himself a great year. He's hitting over 300, which is a great thing to have on your team. And having a guy like Evan Longoria in your locker room, although he's only getting spot duty here and they're not playing a whole bunch, but having a guy in your locker room, it can't hurt at all. Having a guy with some winning experience, winning pedigree, and a long-term veteran on a team full of first and second year players, it can't hurt having a guy like Evan Longoria in your locker room to say, hey, this is how you win. This is what we got to do to be a professional and everything else. Can they keep it up? Doubtful. Can they keep up with the are they making things interesting in the National League West? Yeah, and throughout baseball, because now you got to think like there's some wild card spots that might be closing up a little bit. And if you have a team that's in a wild card spot right now and they can just go 500 from here on out, they probably have a wild card spot sewn up. So there's some teams that are going to have to scramble, get on serious heaters to overtake the Arizona Diamondbacks. So you never know what could happen. If they finish over 500, you got a definite shot of getting to yourself to a playoff matchup, and you never know what can happen in that first round, that best of 3 first round it is now, that can be quite dangerous, as the Toronto Blue Jays found out last year against the Seattle Mariners. The number 2 most surprising team for me, they've been trying to do something there for a long time. This team hasn't been really that successful over the years, but it's the 36-20 Texas Rangers, first American League East or American League West. Sorry, they've had a great season so far. They were down in Arlington. Everybody always gives that division, the American League West, to the Houston Astros. Those no good, dirty, rotten world champions champion Houston Astros, but they're giving the Astros all they can handle in the American League West right now. They've been Nate Eovaldi somehow has found that fountain of youth again. I don't know how he does it year in, year out. Maybe it's the 4 or 5 Tommy John surgeries he's had over the years. He's been fantastic for them. Every start, getting some length, striking out lots. I think he's 7-2 is his record right now, which is not. I know wins and losses don't matter much in the for starting pitchers anymore because starters just burn up innings is what their role is now, and get a lot of strikeouts as he's been doing. Jacob deGrom's been great since he's gotten back his last 2 starts. He spent some time, of course, deGrom spends time on the IL year in, year out, but their pitching staff has been fantastic. To a man, they have been pitching very well. And another thing, here's another crazy stat. The Texas Rangers have the highest batting average, team batting average in the American League. What a weird concept. You have a high batting average, and people say the nerds, the analytics guys say batting average doesn't matter. But you know what? The Texas Rangers find themselves in first place in the American League West because what? They get on base, they put bat to ball, and they have a high batting average. So these guys who say strikeouts don't matter and high batting averages don't matter, they're 100% wrong. They are wrong. I cannot stress that enough. How strikeouts are awful for a baseball team, and low batting averages are awful for a baseball team. And if you have a high batting average and you don't strike out much, you're going to have more success because you know what you're going to do? You're going to score more runs. And the whole concept of the game of baseball is to score more runs than the other team. The Texas Rangers went out and added veteran manager as well this past offseason, Bruce Bochy, with his 3 world championships with the San Francisco Giants. And that can't hurt your ball club either. Getting that winning pedigree in your locker room, changing the culture a little bit, and having a guy, an old vet in there. Managers don't make a big difference, I don't think, a lot of times, but having a guy like Bochy in there who knows how to win, knows how to push some buttons, maybe get some guys going, like Corey Seager's hitting 300 plus this year. He had a rough year last year, and he's been fantastic for the Rangers. So you got to think that's putting Bochy in there, the old grizzled vet, probably smoking 3 darts a day, an inning in there. I made it up. I don't know if the guy smokes. I don't think anybody smokes that much anymore. But you got to think having Bochy in there in the dugout on a nightly basis hasn't hurt the Texas Rangers. There's my number 2 most surprising team in baseball. And number 1, friend of the show, Aaron Riley's of the Brutally Honest Sports podcast. The Baltimore Orioles at 36-21, only 3.5 back right now of the Tampa Bay Rays, the aforementioned Tampa Bay Rays, who man, if you got to think, if Tampa didn't get off that roaring start, you'd be talking about the first place Baltimore Orioles. They've been unbelievable all season long. They still spend no money. They have nothing going on. Their starting pitching has been okay, but that team is full of grit and determination. They have 19 comeback wins so far this season. They've been unbelievable, and they have a closer like Felix Bautista, who's Mariano-esque out there, and he comes into games, and it's just like this one's over. He's throwing 101 miles an hour plus sometimes to end the ball game. You have a guy coming in out of the bullpen, and teams, if you don't have a starter, Yankees. If you don't have a closer, Yankees. If you don't have a guy like Bautista coming out of the pen, you don't have a hope in hell of winning ball games. And being able to hold leads like that, like I said, when they have 19 comeback wins and they get ahead in the ball game, get ahead late, and they put a guy in like Bautista to close her up, that's what you got to have on a night in, night out basis. The emergence of Adley Rutschman and Ryan Mountcastle hitting the ball a little bit better over this season can't hurt at all. They got Gunnar Henderson hit a big home run last night. They got a good ball club there in Baltimore, and you got to think maybe they'll have an addition of an arm, maybe if they want to go and spend some money and get some starting pitching at the trade deadline. Maybe a guy on a bridge deal of some kind, just to guys are dumping guys because they have some prospects down in the minor leagues as well that they might be able to flip and go and get something. Are they a World Series contender? I don't know, but you never know. Like if you can't win the World Series if you're not in the playoffs, if they can make a run and get there, win a few games here and there, and they're another team right now, you got to think if they go 500 from here on in, they're probably in the playoffs. Right? It's just math. It's just how math works. If you have more wins than the other teams, you get in. It's really quite simple. If you don't strike out a bunch, you score more runs, and you hit the ball well, you win baseball games. It's a novel concept to baseball fans and the analytics people. I know it's odd that it works out that way, but that's how it is. Anyways, that's how it is. I like to see how they're going to do. I hope for Aaron's sake of Brutally Honest Sports Podcast that Aaron Hicks isn't a detriment to them too much when he comes off another sore leg or cramped leg or whatever Hicks has got since getting released. He got 2 hits, I think, for the Orioles, his first start there in Baltimore since getting told thanks by the Yankees about a week week ago. But I hope there isn't a Hicks curse to the Baltimore Orioles, because you like to see that franchise doing well and make the National or the American League East even tougher than it already is with the Yankees, Blue Jays, Red Sox are actually playing some pretty good baseball, and the Tampa Bay Rays. So the American League East is a beast for sure, like it used to be. Anyways, that's my top three, bottom three, or biggest three disappointments and biggest three surprises of the Major League Baseball season to date so far. Hope you guys like and share. Make sure you guys go to righteousfelon.com as well and get their craft beef jerky. Go to righteousfelon.com and use promo code BELLYUP at righteousfelon.com and get 15% off of their craft jerky. Righteous Felon is the official jerky supplier of Belly Up Sports. Anyways, on this day, where are we here? Too many pages. On this day in, really blowing this one here, aren't I? Yeah, I got her. On this day in 1995, Pedro Martinez of the Montreal Expos had a perfect game, broken up in the 10th inning as the game against the San Diego Padres. Left fielder hit I can't remember his name. What Biff Roberts. Left fielder Biff Roberts hit a lead-off double in the bottom half of the inning. Martinez struck out 9 in his 9 perfect innings before giving way to Mel Rojas to get the final 3 outs of the game. Joey Hamilton of the Padres wasn't too bad himself. He gave up 3 hits in his 9 innings of work. Jeff Treadway of the Expos hit a 2-out RBI in the top of the 10th in front of a whopping 9,707 fans at Jack Murphy Stadium in San Diego that night in 1995. Imagine giving up a perfect game in the 10th inning, man. Like they wouldn't even let guys go that go there anymore if they would say, yeah, we're going to save you for the rest of the season. But Martinez, he was a horse back in the day. And happy, what do we got here? Happy 48th birthday to Jose Molina, one of the dancing Molina brothers of the catcher's fame, born on this day in 1975 in Bauman, Puerto Rico. Jose, the middle of 3 brothers to catch in the major leagues, along with older brother Benji and younger brother Yadier, drafted the 14th round to the Cubs in the 1993 draft, and is a 2-time World Series champion with the 02 Angels and the 09 New York Yankees. 15-year career with the Chicago Cubs, Anaheim Angels, New York Yankees, Toronto Blue Jays, and the Tampa Bay Rays. 39 home runs and 223 RBIs and a .233 batting average in his 15-year career. One of the dancing Molina brothers. Every time you turn the TV on, there was a Molina catching somewhere. That's this day in baseball history. Thank you very much for joining us here on 1420 in the morning. For those who joined us live on YouTube or Facebook Live, we thank you very much for tuning in. For those who listen to the podcast version of it later on, once I get it up there, thank you very much as well for doing that. Thanks for everybody who supports the show. And make sure you go to Yeti Coolers. There's the link up there for people who are watching. Or I'll have it up in the show description as well. And get yourself a Yeti cooler to keep those adult beverages cool all summer long. Anyways, that's it for today's show. I'm not sure. I won't be on tomorrow, but we're back Monday morning for our regular 1420 in the morning. And Dave and I are back Monday night for the regular 1420, the OG, I guess. And we'll be discussing probably the start of the Stanley Cup playoffs and whatever else comes to our mind throughout the week. And anyways, have a good weekend, folks. We will talk to you guys on Monday. And remember, it doesn't matter. It's who you're with. Have yourselves a great day, and we'll talk to you Monday.
Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy some peanuts and Cracker Jack. I don't care if I never get back. Oh, it's root for the whole team. They don't win, it's a shame. Now it's 1, 2, 3 strikes. You're out at the old ball game.
Just listen to the 1420 Sports Bar podcast. 4 beer with sports talk and a whole lot more. We are part of the Belly Up